tomorrow night, Saturday, 10 o'clock p.m. at the UFC Apex Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have UFC 258. And let me tell you something, Nate. We got a good main event here, man. We got a good main event here. It's Kamaru Usman, the welterweight champion of the world, going up against Gilbert Burns. Let me tell you something, Nate. All right, this is going to be a good fight. Let me explain why I'm very interested in this fight. Okay, first of all, I do love the way Gilbert Burns fights. He's a great striker. I love the way Kamaru fought. You know, Kamaru has proven that he can beat some of the best contenders in this division. Let me tell you why I'm mostly interested in this fight. Did you know these two used to train? These two are actually training partners. These two are training partners. They train in the same gym, and they're pretty good friends too. And they're both in the same division, and they are going to fight each other. I think that's we hear about this a little. I don't really hear about this a lot in fighting. You know what I'm saying? Where two people train at the same gym. Like I remember Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, they used to be good friends. They used to train with each other, and then the whole rivalry started between them. TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt, they used to train at the same gym with Uriah Faber, and then the fight happened between them. So it's happened before, don't get me wrong, but this is a very interesting fight. Let me explain something to you. In case people don't know who these two guys are, Kamaru Usman is the UFC welterweight champion of the world. He has fought some pretty decent competitors, Nate. Kamaru Usman has had prominent wins over former UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley. He has had a fantastic, great fight, probably one of my favorite fights in recent memory, against Colby Covington. He had a fifth-round TKO against Colby Covington. A great performance by both those men, but Kamaru Usman had the better of him. And then he had a great third fight against my favorite fighter right now in the UFC, Jorge Masvidal, Street Jesus, right there. So, look, Kamaru Usman is a very, very good fighter. You know what I'm saying? He's proven time and time again why he is the welterweight champion. His career record is 17-1, and that one loss came from he had a submission earlier in his career before he got to the UFC, so he lost by submission. But let me tell you something about Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman just keeps proving why he is one of the best contenders, about why he is the welterweight champion. You know what I'm saying? Guys, that was basically his title run right there. Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington, and Jorge Masvidal. But guys, before he had that title run, he has beat guys such as Damian Maia and Rafael Dos Anjos, Rafael Dos Anjos is a former champion himself, and Damian Maia was a very good fighter at one point too. So he has had some pretty good fights against some pretty great people. Leon Edwards was another one. Leon Edwards is a good fighter as well. Now, a couple of stats for Kamaru Usman that I think people should know before tuning into this fight. Kamaru Usman, so basically I'm going to explain this. So Kamaru Usman, he has a 53% striking accuracy, which I think is very good. Striking defense is 58%, which I think is very good. That means his opponents are landing 42% of their strikes, which is pretty good defense. Takedown accuracy, he's at 47%, but he has 100% takedown defense, which means in his career stats, no one has ever taken him down, Nate. Which I think is I think that's a very impressive stat to have. Now, we're going to go to Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is a very good fighter as well. I think he's less proven. He still has more to prove, Gilbert Burns, but what better way to prove it than by beating Kamaru Usman, you know what I'm saying? Beating your training partner. And I'm going to be real with you, Nate. I'm going to be honest with you. If I think there's one guy that can beat him, Gilbert Burns might be that one guy because, again, you've trained with him for so long. You should know exactly how he fights. You know what I'm saying? You guys train. You should know, like, certain parts of his game that you can capitalize on. But let me give you some, like, little insights on Gilbert Burns. He has a professional record of 19-3. He has beat guys like Tyron Woodley, Damian Maia, Gunnar Nelson, Dan Hooker. He has lost, actually, to Dan Hooker, who right now Dan Hooker is a lightweight in the UFC division. Alex Oliveira, he has beaten Alex Oliveira, who is actually the number one contender right now, or he's in the final two guys who should be fighting for the lightweight championship. So it looks like he started off at lightweight and he kind of built up the welterweight, but he has an impressive win over Tyron Woodley, which he dominated Tyron Woodley. Since Tyron Woodley's lost to Kamaru Usman, and Gilbert Burns. He's lost to Kobe Covington as well, Tyron Woodley. So Woodley's not the same fighter that he used to be. But honestly, Nate, I am very intrigued about this fight. Now I'm just gonna name a couple stats for Gilbert Burns, okay? Because I feel like that's necessary. So Gilbert Burns has a striking accuracy of 46%. It's not the best, but it could be better. But let me tell you something. Gilbert Burns got some punches. Gilbert Burns can pack a punch. He's got some power in those fists, Nate. His striking defense is 56, which I think is pretty good. That means it's not as good as Kamaru's, but it means that opponents are landing 44% of their punches, which I think is a pretty good stat to have. Takedown accuracy, he's only 37%, so that's a little bit of a weak side for him. And takedown defense is 50, so it's like a 50-50 with Gilbert Burns. I'm gonna be honest with you, Nate. I got Kamaru Usman winning this fight either by submission or by unanimous decision. I don't think neither one of them is gonna get knocked out. I think they both got very good jaws. So I think they both got very good chins. So I think it's either going to end with a submission or a unanimous decision. But I'm going to pick unanimous decision because I expect Gilbert Burns to understand like certain stuff that Kamaru Usman does. And I expect Gilbert Burns to kind of like, stop him from doing certain things. But I also expect that Kamaru Usman is such an experienced champion that he is willing to that he will know how to like kind of adjust to the game plan and end up beating Gilbert Burns. So I got Kamaru Usman by unanimous decision. Your thoughts, Nate?
Hey man, look, this fight now that you mentioned they were like partners. I'm gonna be honest, it reminds me a lot about Obi-Wan versus Anakin. For you Star Wars fans out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I got the high ground. Nah, but yeah, I mean, I get what you mean. I mean, let me start with Kamaru Usman. One thing that really strikes me about Kamaru Usman is that he has a switch stance, meaning that he can do southpaw and orthodox, which I find to be very impressive. We talk about in boxing how like Gervonta Davis has power in both hands, whereas opposed to most other boxers, it's like that one dominant hand, like if you're like a righty or a lefty or whatever it is. But for him to have two different stances, I think it's a little bit more impressive. I mean, it's something you don't really see all that often. Then in comparison to Gilbert Burns' orthodox stance, so I think having both stances is really interesting to me. But yeah, I mean, I got Kamaru Usman winning by unanimous decision. I mean, now that you think about it, like they're fighting, used to be fighting partners, all that kind of stuff. Like they both know each other, they both know like, their fighting styles and like the way each other fight, all that kind of stuff. That makes for
both of them have been flapping their lips a little bit too.
Yeah.
Kamaru Usman say me and Gilbert Burns both know who's gonna win tomorrow, Saturday. And I heard Gilbert Burns say Kamaru Usman knows I can tap him out.
Yeah.
So hey, we gonna see.
Hey, look, man, it's gonna be a really good fight because, like I said, both know each other, and like I always say it, man. I always say it. You're more likely to lose against someone someone that you fought with or like someone you play with or whatever, in comparison to someone you don't know. Because like that person that you fought with or played with, whatever sport you're talking about for so long, knows you too. You feel me? Like, I mean, you could make an argument which it's actually pretty fair. Like, someone, or actually, let me say this: you don't know someone, so you don't know their ability, but they don't know your ability either. You can take advantage of that. But the person that knows you're playing up against them, they know you, they know your ability. That's why I feel like it's a lot tougher to beat someone you've known for so long than in comparison to someone you don't know at all. That's my argument. It can go both ways depending on how you look at it.
Right.
I think this is a fairly even match, even though both have their little weaknesses. You already mentioned those. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, I got the champion winning the Nigerian Nightmare. Oh, I love that nickname so much. I like that nickname.
Yeah,
but yeah. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, when you really look at it, also, I said this. Here's the thing, though, Nate. I said this about Lomachenko too.
Yeah.
Before he fought Teofimo, and Teofimo proved that he belonged. But like, I don't know, dude. If you really ask me, I think Kamaru, I just think I think he's too experienced. You look at like the top welterweights in that division, and like Gilbert Burns has faced a pretty good welterweights, but there was that one name, Kobe Covington. It was him at first, and Kamaru ended up beating Kobe Covington by 5th round TKO, and that was a great fight. Then he went out. Then it was the beef that him and Jorge Masvidal had, and Jorge Masvidal took that fight with 6 days. And credit to Jorge Masvidal because he had to cut a tremendous amount of weight for that fight. But he ended up beating Jorge Masvidal by unanimous decision. But here's the thing, okay? best of luck to both fighters, but I'm rooting for Kamaru Usman. The reason why I'm rooting for Kamaru Usman is because you got that whole beef that's still going on between Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman, where Colby Covington feels like the fight was stopped early and the ref made a poor stoppage. And
Right.
Colby Covington is livid about it, and those two have been trash talking each other for many, many years. And then you got also that second fight between Jorge and Kamaru. And then you have the fight between Jorge and Colby Covington, who are also two former best friends. So I want to see those fights, man. I really do. But I feel like the only way this division is going to get even like more fun is if Kamaru Usman wins. Has to be Gilbert Burns. And Gilbert Burns is a great, great fighter. Don't get me wrong. He'd be a very great champion. But I just feel like Kamaru Usman is starting to build a name for himself in the UFC, which is why I want to see Usman continue building that name so these fights can get more hype. We've seen it with Conor McGregor. We've seen it with Johnny Bones Jones. We've seen it with Israel Adesanya. These guys built names for themselves. Ronda Rousey at one point. You remember? Habib Nurmagomedov. These guys built names for themselves, and because their names were built, they were able to sell fights. Simple as that. And so with that being said, that's why I want Kamaru Usman to end up beating Gilbert Burns so that these rematches can come in, because I know Kamaru Usman will take the rematches. These rematches will come in, and it can make for some good events for UFC. And let me tell you something. There is one man in this welterweight division that I am just waiting for to explode. His name is Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev is like Khabib Nurmagomedov if Khabib was a boxer. It's scary. Let me tell you something, dude. These fighters from Dagestan, bro, they're coming. They're coming. They're taking over this whole sport. And look, Khamzat is a beast. I'm not gonna lie to you. Khamzat is a dog. But here's the thing: he's only fought one time, and I need him to see. I need this dude to fight more. He pulled out of his second fight. Stop it! Fight.
Hey man, these Pakistan man, don't underestimate them, man. They're from Pakistan. That place is crazy.
And Kamaru Usman and Khamzat been beefing drawing back and forth a couple of times too. So like, I want to see these fights with Kamaru, because all these fights, if you really think about it, all these fights, they're connected in a way. You know, everybody's got those guys. Everybody has beef with each other. So why not settle that beef in the octagon? The welterweight division might have some of the biggest beefs, the biggest arguments. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, it's drawing in the UFC. It's UFC. It's combat sports. But the welterweight division, it seems like they're always drawing at each other. And not only that, we can't forget, you also have Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor looked very good at 170. You know what I'm saying? He looked very good at 170 when he fought Donald Cerrone. And he obviously bumped down to 150 and ended up getting beat by Poirier. But who knows? Well, Conor might want to go up to welterweight and fight these guys as well. So there's a lot of fights to make in the UFC division, in the UFC welterweight division, right? But I feel like the only way that these are going to become big events is if Kamaru stays champion, because so many people have beef with Kamaru Usman, and rightfully so. The reason why they have beef with him is because he is the UFC welterweight champion. When you have that championship, it is a big accomplishment, but it's also a target on your back. There are going to be guys who target you once you have that championship because you have what they want. You know what I'm saying? You have that belt on your shoulder, around your waist. They want that belt, so they're going to target you any way they can. They're going to talk a lot of smack so you can accept the fight and give it to them so they have a chance to fight. But I mean, with that being said, despite who wins this fight, whether it's Kamaru Usman or Gilbert Burns, I guarantee you they're both going to have a great, clean fight, and whoever wins definitely deserves to win. And don't get me wrong, I think the welterweight division is filled with talent, and no matter who wins, I feel like we're going to see some pretty talented fights, and we're going to see a bunch of talented fighters fight in that octagon against each other. So with that being said, best of luck to Kamaru Usman, best of luck to Gilbert Burns, and I can't wait for Saturday, 10 o'clock, UFC Apex Center on Pay-Per-View and ESPN+.